I see a couple of you on here, so we're going to start. Sorry about that. We're doing a safe to return to normal roundtable. I'm hoping a few more clients show up soon. So I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and, feel free to turn your video on, unmute yourself. There's only 2 of you at this time. So we are going to go ahead and start chatting and talking and see what's going on. Hey, Nick. Feel free to unmute.
Yep. Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you? Nick is my moderator. He's watching the UC chat, which is having about as much action as our Zoom is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still here. Yay. All right. So we have you and we have Brenna Hall from Topeka.
3 of me would be really scary.
I know the feeling. 3 of me, scary. Exactly. Oh, and we have another person joining us. This is very exciting. So Dr. Sachs, what were you hoping to get out of this chat tonight?
Learning a lot from a lot of other people.
All right, we got to wait for all those other people to join in. Beth, you need to unmute and turn your video on. And we got to see which Beth this is. It might be the one from East Portland Pediatrics.
Hi, Lynn. Hang on. I'm getting it set up here.
She's like, I don't want to turn my video on.
Oh, no, I'll turn it on. I'm just,
all right,
hang
good,
on.
Good. All right. We're going to slowly gather people tonight, I think. I'm expecting, after 10 minutes, maybe we'll have stuff. You get your PPE you brought in for the meeting. Was that to have a safe meeting, Dr. Sachs?
I am done seeing patients today. I can get rid of the spacesuit.
The spacesuit. Look, he's got his jacket on. Dr. Mike. He's advertising.
I feel like the Hulk trying to get out of this.
Do you need help getting out of your spacesuit? Don't panic. I like your background. I just have the UC background. That sounds awful complicated. Does it take you this long to put it on?
Okay, much better.
This is hopefully not going to be the new normal, right? Wearing that all the time.
And hopefully nothing more than this. But the way we're going and what we're hearing, after putting on an N95 and feel like I'm going to suffocate within a few minutes.
Yeah.
We're hoping we can just stick to surgical masks and we don't have to put on the full complete PPE on a regular basis.
Right. Yeah, I hope so for you guys as well. Beth, how you doing out there?
Hi. Good. Sorry, I had the YouTube going at the same time as this, and so every time anyone spoke, it like repeated 30 seconds later, and I felt like I was in a big empty room.
I also somehow have YouTube running somewhere on my laptop. I finally had to mute the speakers.
Oh, it was awful.
It's horrible. It's like you talk and then 15 seconds later you're hearing yourself say the same thing, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah. No, we're doing good. I'm obviously in my living room. Only going in the office about 1 day a week just to pay bills, and
yeah.
So I'm feeling a little out of the loop. But no, they know how to reach me.
They know how to reach you.
I got the portal payments all set up though since our last meeting.
Fantastic.
Good to go.
Good. Yeah. Good. Get those portal payments set up. That's one of the new normals. Is the touchless payments, where no credit cards are switching hands. People can pay on the portal, or some people are getting the real cool the Wi-Fi enabled readers. So people can just tap their card instead of having to hand it to you, or you having to swipe it, or them even sticking it in a machine. That seems to be a new normal, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, we actually did that about a year or so ago when we needed to upgrade terminals. James had us or suggested we get the kind where the staff has a terminal right on their desk, and there's a cable going up to a separate terminal, a pin pad on the counter. So we already had that in place, and it made it really easy now that the parents can put in the card, touch it all themselves, Nothing needs to change hands, and it has a contact NFC option if they want to do Google Pay or Apple Pay or one of those.
That's awesome. That's a little more forward thinking than some of our clients, I'm afraid. But I'm hoping that, other clients learn from this and start to catch up on that technology really fast and getting that installed. It's probably hard if you just bought new equipment though to go and change it over to even newer equipment, but it's something to keep in mind um, as we go through the times we're going through. So the safe return to normal. First off, do you guys even think we're going to go back to normal anytime soon?
No,
No,
I don't even remember it at this point.
you don't. It's been about 3 months of not normal, right?
Being home, like I feel like I'm a full-time mom, full-time employee, and teacher. Thank
Yeah.
goodness school is finally done.
Yeah. Have you guys figured out what you're going to do when you start bringing your patients in full time, or have you already started doing that? Are all your patients already coming in like you're back to a full schedule?
We're not at a full schedule, but our templates, you know us, Lynn, so we have
Yeah.
crazy templates. Our templates are pretty much out the window right now. It's insane. It's like we went from having all these crazy rules of when you can put this and this and this, and now it's like just fill it up. And it's amazing on one hand, but we're doing a little bit of telehealth. It's just all mixed in.
Right.
If anyone has COVID symptoms or respiratory GI issues, we put them at the end of the morning or at the end of the afternoon. We have the luxury of having 2 suites in our
Yep.
building.
Yep.
So all of the well childs are in a big suite, and the sick patients that have COVID symptoms go to the other suite. They're not even allowed in that other side. So we've just kind of split it out that way. But as far as we're busy. It's just a lot of physicals. We're recalling like crazy. Our MAs are calling patients on downtime, and just everyone's scheduling and everyone's calling and just trying to keep it filled up.
Yeah, Dr. Sachs, how you guys doing in California? You guys keeping your schedule full?
We've actually gotten much fuller than we were anticipating in a really good way. We did something kind of similar with the schedule, that we had a lot of the same crazy rules and blocks. Our office, it takes a long time for us to do anything, and we've been implementing the appointment book for about 2 years. And finally, when the new telemedicine features came into it, that along with saying everybody's schedule is wide open, there's no such thing as a block anymore, it made it much easier. So we didn't have to come up with any crazy templates. We implemented the appointment book. Everybody's schedule was nothing but well visits from the beginning of the day until mid-afternoon, and then saving the last hour and a half of the day for the sick visits. So we can tell people well visits at one time, you're not going to overlap with any sick visits. And I will say, for anybody who has put off implementing the appointment book, it was one of the best decisions that we made. Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
I love the appointment book.
If you're, yeah, that's like you told us 5 years, Lynn, and it only took 4, and we were so happy. Yeah, the appointment book is definitely going to make things a lot easier, especially with that telemedicine link. If you're doing any sort of telemedicine in your office. So we also have other clients. So I know you guys have split it up. So Dr. Sachs, you're doing well and then sick, and then Beth, your office in Portland you have your 2 suites. We actually have clients with 2 offices where they're doing wells in one office and 6 in the other's office. And that's obviously not a possibility if you don't have 2 locations, but the 2 suites works out well. I know we have a couple other clients that have that sort of situation. Now, are you guys letting people into your exam room, or are you making them wait outside until it's time for them to come in and they go directly into a room?
You mean the waiting room?
Yeah.
No. Well, they get to walk through there. Everyone checks in from their car.
Yeah.
And then because we're in a hospital building, everyone's screened at the door of the hospital.
Right.
So
Oh,
they
yeah,
have to
yeah,
go
yeah.
through that way, which is kind of nice for us. Although the screeners that are there are a little too lax, if you ask me. But so yeah, they call when they get there. We try to collect the copay, either have them get on the portal or pay over the phone. And then when they come in, they're just handed their paperwork and they're taken directly to a room. Nobody waits in the waiting.
Is the new normal going to be no waiting room?
I don't know.
Is that going to be part of the safe return? Is continuing this card check-in? Dr. Sachs, what do you think?
Well, we're still doing check-in in the waiting room,
Yeah.
but like we shouldn't call it the waiting room anymore because there's no waiting.
Right.
Pretty much
The
right.
reception area.
We'll call it reception area, right from checking in the reception area right into the exam room. And we're looking into the possibility maybe of getting some additional laptops or tablets and having the front desk staff go into the exam room so nothing takes place in the front office. They come right in, have their temp screen, they get the questionnaire about any potential illness or illness exposure, and if they can come in, then everything will take place in the exam room. So we're looking into possibly doing that. One of the things that we're now starting to face, and it's happened a couple of times, is on a temp check, a kid, let's say, has a temp of 100.1. They act totally fine. They've had 0 signs of illness. But then we find out maybe they started daycare the week earlier. What are we going to do with these barely low-grade temps and well-acting kids if they come in during low hours? And that's happened a couple of times so far, and we're trying to formulate how we're going to handle that. Because we're trying to tell people well visits and sick visits are not going to take place at the same time. So how sick does somebody have to be to not come into the office during well time? And we don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah. Brenna, I see you unmuted. You haven't put your video on, but you have anything to add now that you've unmuted? That means you're here.
I don't. We kind of are doing the same thing though. Nobody's waiting in the waiting room. We're taking everybody straight to an exam room. But that new texting feature has been super helpful because we're texting people when they're in their cars to tell them to come on in when we actually finally have another room ready when we're super busy.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're fond of that new feature as well. With that potentially being a new norm, having people wait in their car until it's time for the visit, I'm curious, is the change making providers be on time more? Is it because you have patients in their cars waiting? Are you staying on time? Are the doctors staying on time, or is there just enough fewer appointments that they're able to keep up? Beth, you're
I honestly
smiling.
don't
Yeah.
know if ours are having a problem with being behind or not right now, but some of them have extended appointment times a bit too. 2 of our physicians normally use a scribe, and right now they're not. We haven't called the scribes back in yet, so that's made a bit of a difference as well. More people in the room, I think, is concerning. The rooms are only so big, but I think it's been okay. We've had to add a few blocks to the schedule too, just because they know that their physicals are longer than they allow for, but they depend on the sick visits to catch up, and they don't have those right now.
Right.
Yeah, I've added extra time on for all my well visits because besides all the usual well visit stuff, every single visit includes something about COVID. Should we send our kid back to school? We're thinking about traveling. Is that going to be okay? So every well visit is probably taking at least 5 or 10 minutes longer than it would otherwise. And I want to be able to have the time. I don't want to feel like I'm rushing out of there when people are having some of these additional questions. So it means fewer well visits than I might otherwise see in a given time frame, but I'm feeling much more relaxed about it, and I can tell the patients appreciate it. One of the things that we know is going to be an issue is right now on what we'll call a good day, everybody is stacked from beginning to end with nothing but well visits. But at some point with the daycare, the preschool, some of the summer camps opening up, there's going to be an increase of actual real sick visits that can't be done by telemedicine. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but we're in the process of talking how are we going to deal with our schedule, which has been really nice to not have any blocks when we have to have some blocks that we normally would in the summertime to account for those visits. And one of the many things we're discussing and aren't quite sure how we're going to handle yet.
Yeah, so that leads me into a question that Jan's feeding me. I'm probably not supposed to tell you guys that, but it's okay. Jan's here to help me out. What type of visits are you guys bringing into the office? What are you going to continue doing with telemedicine, and which sick visits are you actually going to be into the office?
We haven't made any future decisions at this point that I know of.
So you're kind of just winging it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, the thoughts of how are we going to handle flu vaccines and that kind of stuff are running through our brains, but we don't have any,
Right. Flu
you know,
clinic. Or you
plans.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, how many people do you bring in for a flu clinic, and is that safe anymore?
Yeah, we've discussed drive-through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drive-throughs work really well. We've done it for 3 years.
Nice. It might be
So,
something we have to do. I don't know.
Brenna, how do you guys do your drive-through flu clinic?
So last year, I guess this past flu season, we actually used a sign-up sheet through the portal. We had them fill out a template to sign them up, but we kind of broke it into 4 different groups and had them sign up, and they had time frames, and then we had them pull up to the side of the building, and everybody ran out and gave it to them. And in the car, even Dr. Kane was helping give flu vaccines. But we did like 103 hours, I think.
Wow.
Cool. What other? I mean, going back to the telemedicine. What do you guys, Dr. Sachs? Are you guys going to keep doing telemedicine when we go back to this new normal?
Insurance companies permitting, I think it's great. There's a discussion on SOPM right now, which is varying from people writing, I don't think I can do much besides mental health and behavioral, to people writing in that they can do an awful lot. And I'm on the awful lot side. I feel like I can do the majority of rashes. I can at least look at a kid who may be febrile and get that gut sense. This is a kid to worry about, or this is a kid not to worry about, and I'm not relying on a phone call from a parent trying to describe the kid's activity to me. I'm not going to diagnose otitis. I'm not going to diagnose a UTI. But I feel like I can at least do enough of the screening to say I'm comfortable with what we're doing by telemedicine, and then we'll follow up as needed, or no, this is one that needs to be seen. And if I feel comfortable enough that it can be seen relatively safely in the office, they'll come in to the exam room. If I'm not comfortable they should come in, I'll see them in the parking lot. But I like to screen all the sick visits ahead of time by telemedicine. At least if I do need to see them, I'm getting the history ahead of time, and it minimizes the time that's going to be in the exam room, and I'm not spending an extra 10 or 15 minutes in their vicinity getting the history.
Right. Do you think that's going to continue?
That's going to be up to the insurance companies. If they
Okay.
decide that they're going to start paying us significantly less, or they're only going to pay their contracted teledocs and it's not considered a covered expense anymore, that's going to be really bad for everybody, for us and for the patients.
Yeah, I imagine some patients are loving the telemedicine visits.
Yeah, I mean, it's created some visits that afterwards we say, you know what, this visit probably didn't need to take place, but it was convenient for the family. They wanted it, so we accommodated them. But it's also created some visits that were necessary that might not have taken place. It might be the end of the day where they would have gone to urgent care otherwise. It might be a family who lives a little bit of ways away, and in LA they might live 5 miles away, but that could be 45 minutes at the wrong time of day. So we can take care of that by a telemedicine visit. And we know that we'd much rather us take care of it in some fashion, at least to start, than have them go to urgent care or call an insurance company's teledoc.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be the same way with the telehealth. I'm not sure how many love or hate it, but we're monitoring through the IPA and that we're involved in, and we have 3 of them that are still saying they're going to quit paying, in full at the end of June. So
Really?
yeah.
Wow. Well,
We'll see.
They get a little pushback from the
Oh yeah,
AEP.
there's definitely some fight going on there, but I mean, Regents is end of the year. The rest of them are before that.
Nice. Brenna, what about you guys? What type of visits are you bringing into the office versus just doing telemedicine? Are you guys planning on continuing telemedicine?
I know we're going to plan on continuing telemedicine. It's worked really well for us. We do a lot of mental health through telemedicine, but I'm not sure. we still see quite a lot in the office, but our numbers aren't anywhere close to how you guys are on both coasts. So I'm not sure. I know that we're kind of in the same boat though. I know that we have some insurance companies that after the end of June, they're not going to be paying in full anymore. So that might change how many we can do. So it just kind of depends, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we have West Coast, and then we have Topeka, Kansas, which is not a coast. How is Brenna? How's your patients doing with the telemedicine? Are they getting it? I was on the actually did a go live today with the new practice, and I know first thing this morning they had a telemedicine, and the front desk person's like, I'm trying to walk this mom through connecting to DoxyMe, and she's having problems. So, and they're in outside of Dallas. How are things in Topeka? Let's specifically go to you with your telemedicine. How are they getting it?
Um, Yes and no. It kind of depends on the age demographic. Like a lot of the younger families, it's the easiest thing ever. They're on right away. We don't have to tell them to log on 10 minutes before because it takes them a minute to get situated. But then there are others that are also in that same age demographic that also we have had some that take like 20 minutes to figure out. So it really just depends. We have great success and then we have some struggling sometimes.
So curious, are you flagging the ones you're struggling with?
Yeah,
Just like flags.
we're getting to the point though, we might have to start doing that. However, luckily we're small enough that we remember. So it's like, oh no, don't offer telemedicine. Let's wait. See if we can get them to come in first.
Right. Dr. Sachs, how are your patients out there in Beverly Hills?
Almost all of them get on right away. There have
Yeah.
been a handful where, like the other said, it can take a while to get them to log in. Now if they, for whatever reason, don't log in with sending the text from within Doxy, we can send them a text from the EHR to give them their website yet a different way. I know when the staff has tried to spell it out for them, that takes a long time. And if absolutely necessary, if they just can't get on for whatever reason, we know we have permission to use a non-HIPAA compliant method if we have to. We're not allowed to on a regular basis, but
Right.
if I have to do a non-HIPAA compliant Zoom because somebody just doesn't get Doxy, then I've done that a couple of times. One thing we learned, and this is kind of a trick for everybody, or something everybody should be aware of, is if a telemedicine is scheduled with one doctor, and so that doctor's Doxy link is in the appointment to log into their waiting room, and then the telemedicine visit is assigned to a different doctor, go into the visit and put that other doctor's Doxy link or whatever platform somebody uses, but change the telemedicine link that the patient will see in the portal to whichever doctor is actually going to be doing the visit if a change is made after it's scheduled. We've had a time where somebody kept trying to log into my Doxy site after it had been changed to one of the other doctors, and it was because mine was still in the portal.
Yeah.
So little thing we learned.
Well, yeah. That's we have one client has their DoxyMe rooms are actually colors, so they do it by color instead of by provider. So they just tell them what color to go into, and those are easy to spell: red, blue, yellow. Hopefully, everyone knows those. But Beth, you're not in the office, but have you heard from your staff how easy it is for your patients to get?
I'm not sure. I know we're using Spruce. We started with Doxy and the doctors weren't real happy with it. So they switched over to Spruce and they like that better. We also have our RN advice nurses doing all of the telehealth scheduling and setup with the patient. So I'm really not sure what that involves or if there's been any major issues.
All right. So here's a different question. And Dr. Sauer was here for a minute and then he disappeared. So I guess his connection didn't work. Have you guys are you guys using social media for COVID education in any way? Are you using, Facebook?
We have some stuff on our website.
You have things, information on your website?
We also sent out a broadcast, like a survey when the broadcast messaging came available, just kind of asking patients questions and then also giving them information in those questions. Like, have you used our website for COVID-19 information? And just kind of asking questions in a way that we're also telling them things to see if people would, utilize the website. We have Facebook, but it's not, we don't post on there often enough.
Yep. Hey, Dr. Marconi. We have another person. That's 6 of us, because Nick and I are here as well. Yay! Our numbers are increasing. Now I've totally lost my train of thought. So Dr. Sachs, what are you guys doing for social media to help with COVID education?
We have some stuff on our website that is probably old enough now that it needs to be revisited because with the way things have changed, I'm sure there's a little bit of outdated information on there. We also took this opportunity to finally launch our long-awaited remedy site, which makes it super easy to edit. Our previous website, editing anything was really a pain. So I think one of the things that people should have now is at least a website that they can update things super easy when necessary. And then others in the office are handling the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagram, and they're trying to keep things updated and keep patients involved as able.
Yep. Have any of your offices done anything like little YouTube videos? Any video?
Dr. Matthew did one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not so much for the other docs. They are not interested.
We just did a Zoom meeting
Yeah.
for expected parents, and we had 100 people sign up. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was an awesome, like, I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner because, I'm the out of the box thinker. I could shoot myself. But we had 100 people sign up. And I think like 56 couples or 56 actually showed up into the Zoom. And then Dr. Moore was doing it, and she played like a video, and she had this thing about COVID, and we sorry to interrupt this program for COVID. It was like a really cute thing. And then she took the Zoom and actually gave a tour of the office, like walked around the office, and like people could wave, and so it was like almost like an interactive kind of thing. So we couldn't sign everybody up into that meeting, so now we have another one next week. But what an awesome use of because normally we have them come to the office, they have to sign up. It's like 6 o'clock at night,
right?
And then who's late, and you got to give it, and we recorded it too. So for the people
that's what I was gonna ask.
Signed up, but we want them to actually take the class. So it was 2.5 hours, and we gave like a whole blurb about our practice, and like how we work and all of that, and what happens in the hospital, what happens after the hospital, and then a whole session about COVID and people who can touch your baby and all that kind of stuff. So so that was a huge hit. That was just last Thursday.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. I mean, did 56 people at once? Do you do group sessions in the?
More than half of them signed up for the practice. So like it was such a win.
Nice.
It was like an awesome so I don't know if it will continue, but it was a great like round one.
Yeah. Did you guys normally do one-on-one sessions with expectant parents?
So we usually do it once a month, and like we have them come in, and like we all take turns like doing the class.
How many people show up once a month?
We usually have 10 to 12 couples, maybe.
So definitely more doing it this way.
Well, but we didn't have it in like 2 months either. So like, I think some of that might have catch up, but some of those people delivered already. So, and I think, because of COVID, there's probably going to be a baby boom. I'm assuming like,
that's what the rumors I heard as well.
Yeah. Well, that would be really good, wouldn't it?
Brenna, you guys doing anything social media wise to help with COVID education?
We're doing stuff on Facebook and our website, but we're kind of in the same boat where we need to probably revisit some of the social media stuff and update it. But the broadcast messaging has been super helpful for that too. We did a couple of kind of big newsletter type emails almost that were really helpful.
How are you guys using the portal, or are you using the portal to help with not necessarily just checking in patients, but are you using the portal to share forms that they normally fill out, giving them links to maybe, probably not Chattis because you do that through Chattis, but how have you guys utilized the portal to help get more information from the patient before they walk in the door?
I think for us, it's just the payments.
You're doing the payment, right, for the copays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
that's not
we're
a,
not using the portal, but what we started doing, and I think we're just going to continue doing it for telehealth, we were doing pre-visit by the MAs or nurse, like really setting up the pre-visit for the visits, and now we're doing the same thing for developmental screening, like do you have any issues? So we're trying to do as much as possible
Mhm.
before the patient actually comes in. So the time that they're actually in the office, they're in and they're out.
So you're doing that over the phone?
We're doing it over the phone, and we're doing, so we, you know, I sort of figured out right away that not doing well visits was going to kill us. So we figured out a way to do telehealth well visits before the insurance companies actually decided to let us do it. So we did a telehealth visit in the morning, basically setting up the chart, asking all the questions, getting the telehealth, the screenings done. And then either the patient would do a drive up for a quick physical and a shot, or if they were willing to come in, and most people weren't willing to come in, but they were willing to do a drive up. So we did a drive up, like quick well visit check, and we'll do a more, you know, we won't give them a form until they come back for like a real sort of quick visit, but we were able to keep the immunizations going, which to me was really important because our immunization rates are pretty good. And I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a real place for us to like plummet our vaccine rates. So, so then, you know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, the insurance companies allowed us to do it, but we kept up with the same plan, basically doing a pre-visit via telehealth sometimes, or by phone if it's easier.
So I'm gonna kind of sneak back since you missed the beginning of the meeting. Are you guys using your reception area or your waiting room at all anymore right now?
No.
And do you
It's like
plan on going back to using it ever again?
Well, the best part about I think this whole COVID thing is we now have everybody's credit card. I love it because nobody would give us their credit card. Now everyone is like, oh, give me my credit card. I don't want to stop at your desk. I don't want to touch anybody. So now having the credit card, you know, we're doing check-in the day before. And then they also ask the questions, like the COVID questions the day before. And then they're told to call us when they get to the parking lot. And then we call them when their room is ready. And they literally go right into their exam room when it's ready.
Awesome. Awesome. I see the waiting room, the reception area is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, make more exam rooms. Although I don't know what patients we're going to put in there because we don't have any patients right now. But
what type of visits are you bringing into your office right now? Are you doing a lot of telemedicine and only bringing in certain types of visits?
You asking me specifically?
Yes, I am. Because we already talked about it with the others.
So we have 2 offices. So we made one office our sick place.
You're one of those.
We're one of those. So the entire staff like only stays there, and the providers that work there only work there. So we're kind of keeping like a dirty place and a clean place. Yeah. So with that, people have been more willing to sort of come in because they know we're seeing only well kids. So we'll see like, you know, abdominal pain for 2 months, or, you know, like headaches and things like that in the well office. But we've basically been able to segregate.
That's awesome. Dr. Bronco, you can feel free to unmute and share your video if you want to be in this conversation. I see you're there. It's our West Coast people showing up here. He's not gonna, there he goes.
If you insist.
If you know, if I have to show myself, I feel others should have to show themselves as well. Any comments about anything we've heard? I know you're now doing the video. Your office is doing videos because that just came out on a PCC.
Yeah.
Right. How's that going? How many videos have you guys done?
We have done 6 Q&A webinars. We did a couple. I interviewed an ID friend of mine, as the local PEDS ID doc. For the first two, we did one with our nutritionist on staying healthy while sheltering at home. And then we did two because they were so popular on the emotional impact of COVID, with basically a panel of some therapists that we have co-located with and with a local school counselor and myself, and we did Q&A. We got so many questions and so many people participating that we actually did a second follow-up one for that. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I did one with our deputy public health officer and the my PEDS ID friend on going back to school and summer camps and all of the questions that we're all getting right now about how safe it is to mingle. So those were great. They were super easy to do through Zoom, very easy to record and post on our website. And we've been getting a lot of kudos and compliments and questions.
Great. All right. How about you? You guys have two offices. Are you breaking up your visits between the two offices or not?
We actually now have three offices. We found an empty space in one of our buildings, and we set up our two nurse practitioners there to do all the acute care that had to come into the office. And so, like everyone else, we're doing a lot of telemedicine, and we wanted to keep kids up to date on their checkups and vaccines. And so all of the doctors are doing pretty close to 100% well care with some behavioral health and televisits intermingled. And then our nurse practitioners are doing all the in-office acute care. And that was a big, quote unquote, marketing win for us because people felt much better, as Jeannie said, coming into an office that was only seeing well kids or only seeing sick kids.
So Dr. Sachs and Beth kind of both made the comment earlier that basically the schedule, as you know, it was thrown out the window. Any blocks that you did or any special scheduling you did you guys find that as well, that your office is basically, you're just putting kids in where they're going to fit? And have you changed the length of your visits, your well visits at all to accommodate, to make sure you have enough time for those extra questions about COVID?
That question for me?
Both you and Dr.
Yeah.
Marconi.
Oh, I'll go first since I'm unmuted. We had a modified wave schedule in the past, and so essentially we are not using the acute care spots, and so all of our well visits are taking up the whole block. So yes and no.
I think we're a yes and no too. Because they have to wait in their car for us to give them the cue to come into their room, we're finding that we're a little bit behind. So just today we had a meeting discussing how are we going to do that. And we typically already build in 20 minutes for a patient to get ready. So in other words, our first patient appointment is at 8:40, but technically the appointment is 9 o'clock for the provider. So we give the front desk and our MAs or whoever a 20-minute lead time that starts the day to get the patient ready. And it seems the 20 minutes is not enough time right now. So we're going to move it to 30 minutes. So the first appointment will start at 8:30, being ready for the provider at 9 o'clock to build in that extra 10 minutes so we don't have some lag time. I think there are a lot of extra time being spent on parents with worries, and we're not so busy, so it's not more than 10 minutes in our practice. People are used to waiting more than 10 minutes, so for them it's a win. And because we're doing a lot of the stuff up front, we get to spend just the focus on what they want to talk about then by the time they get into the exam room. So it's kind of sort of balancing itself out a little bit.
Do you guys, are any of you doing billable group counseling or group education services remotely? So are you, I know Dr. Marconi, you mentioned that Zoom with all those expecting parents, are you guys doing any sort of billable group stuff?
We don't charge for those because, it's sort of goodwill. I mean, we could, but honestly, like what you get paid for a group meeting, it's not, to me, it's just not worth doing it. But we are doing behavioral health via Zoom. So we have a social worker in the office. So, we're picking up the individuals, but not anything we're doing in a group. At the moment, that may change, but not right now.
Okay. Keep looking over the names keep moving on my participant list for some reason. All right. What else do you guys want to discuss?
When you asked before how we're using the portal, I'm using it a
Yep.
lot for telemedicine visit follow-ups. So in the past, I might have assigned a phone check to somebody who would do typically might do our triage and have them check in a couple of days later to see how they're doing. Now I assign myself a follow-up to send a portal message a couple of days after the visit, and just the subject might be rash follow-up, and I'll just say, how's he doing? How's the rash looking? It takes 20 or 30 seconds to do. I'm sure that parents appreciate it, and it's nice to get that feedback coming back directly to me in a portal message with an update. Now, sometimes it might trigger some additional exchanges, but to me that's part of the visit, and I think it gives better care, especially when it's a telemedicine visit where I'm maybe not quite as confident as I would have been as it would have been an in-person visit, and that follow-up gives me a little more comfort.
Are any of you guys using tools at home for your televisits? Any tools? No.
Define tools.
So it took me a very long time to get my team to get over the goal line to do telehealth. In fact, we rolled out our telehealth February 1st. Like, it was so bizarre that it was so timely, but it took almost 9 months to get us over the goal line to really get the whole thing in place, and really was the providers that were the rate limiting step. They really didn't want to do it. Oh, we can't examine over the phone and all this kind of, over the video. So I came up with this idea for a telebag, and we literally sold out all of our telebags like right before COVID. So in the telebag is a otoscope that attaches to your smartphone, a oximeter, a blood pressure, like a wristlet cuff, what else is in there? Some guidelines on, like first aid kind of stuff. And so we, can see in the kid's ear. The thing is also a great flashlight. Like, you can see like right down the kid's throat. And the bags, I think all the stuff cost us about, I want to say $70 for all of that. And we sold the bags for $100. People were like, that's all? That's, like, and we had a one of those fabric bags made with like our logo on it. So they have their own like medical kit at home. So we can at least get some vital signs. The only thing that's missing clearly is a stethoscope, which, like hopefully one of these days that will be remotely available. But it's been really good to at least have some base, especially if you're doing like an ADD recheck. You can get a blood pressure and a heart rate. So it's been pretty cool, and it's not that expensive. Clearly Medicaid patients, well, actually, I don't know if you couldn't sell them, if they wanted to buy it themselves. I don't know, but we haven't sold the equipment to them, but the uptick from our parents was crazy. And then to resupply the bag, they're all sold out of oximeters and everything else right now, so we haven't been able to restock the bags.
So those of you guys, come on the West Coast, you must have clients that have those toys at home. You're calling them tools. I'll call them toys, because to me that would be a toy and I would play with that. Yeah. Do you guys not have parents at home that already bought this stuff? Or
none that I know of.
None that you know of?
I haven't had anybody mention it during any of the telemedicine visits.
No. For a while, the doc who helped us set up our telemedicine program was working with a company that had the iPhone otoscope. I can't remember the name of it, but the quality wasn't good enough to continue using that. And so now we haven't run into it.
Yeah, they're so much better now. There's some like, the one that we chose, well, we actually, the oximeter that we chose, it was like $12. We now have them in every exam room. They were so accurate because we paired the use of several different ones. And, we were spending $1 million on those probes for the oximeter, and now forget it. We got rid of those, and we're just using like these little gadgets that are really actually quite accurate. Like they were right on target. So we even started using it, and they're like $12. So, you know, if they disappear, who cares? Or, you know, like, you know, you could buy one probe for, you know, $200 and like buy like so many of these. So we're actually using those in the office now. And the otoscope was really great. It really was awesome. Like the lighting was great. The issue you have is the parents like really getting that technique down so you can actually see in the kid's ear. The older kids much easier, clearly. The little kids not. It's not. And we won't let them use tools at home under 2. So that they still have to come, you know, we don't want them to be trying to do that on a 2-year-old.
When this is done, Gina, can you post to the live session the name of the oximeter that you're using?
Sure.
So out of curiosity, how many bags did you sell? And how many more do you think you can sell to your?
I think we sold 250 bags or 240 something.
Wow.
Like a few of my staff took some. So, yeah.
Cool. We just need to get more of that out there in the hands of the parents, so telemedicine doesn't go away.
It does improve the quality of the visit that you can do. I mean, maybe not by a lot, but at least you have some parameters going on. Like,
yeah,
you know, if the oximeter is like 90 and the kid has a cough, well, you know, like you at least have some idea maybe what's going on.
So you were planning all of this before COVID, before the insurance companies were agreeing to pay for it. How are you going to get paid for it? So for now that insurance companies at the end of June are saying we're not going to pay for it anymore to the telemedicine, what was your plan?
We had 3 insurers in Connecticut that were paying for it before COVID. So the 3 major players, Medicaid was not paying for it, and of course United Oxford was not paying for it. But Aetna, Anthem, and Cigna were all already paying for it. So and the parents that didn't have that, we're gonna, you know, we came up with some reduced rate. I think it was like $60 or something for a telehealth visit if their insurance didn't cover it.
Okay. For you guys, Dr. Brecka, you weren't here earlier either. We talked about, are you going to continue with the telemedicine when the insurance companies stop paying for it?
Well, luckily we live in a parity state, and so I'm not
yes,
anticipating having to make that decision. But yeah, I mean, there are things that are better in person that we were doing by telemedicine in the early days of COVID but no, telemedicine is definitely here to stay for us. And I'm going to be leaving you in 3 minutes to do a televisit. So yes, we definitely will continue doing it. Cool. But we also don't have the payment issue that other states do.
Right. Are there certain visits that you're going to focus on as telemed, and others that you're going to just have them come in? Are you going to keep doing the certain sick via telemed?
I think we'll you know, obviously the ones that everyone does by telemed, the behavioral health, the ADHD visits will continue being telemed when appropriate. The sick visits that we'll do by telemed that we never used to, maybe some rashes, you know, especially if they send photos ahead of time. The sort of enhanced triage stuff that a lot of us are doing. You know, I find that telemed has a very high negative predictive value, right? I can look at a kid over telemed and talk to the parent and get a history and tell that they're not critically ill and they don't really need to be seen. I have a harder time diagnosing, you know, pneumonia or wheezing or ear infections. So I think we'll probably continue to do that sort of visit. I've been very pleasantly surprised at how I can decide who it's safe to give Zofran to for a stomach flu over telemed. And so we may end up doing more of that. You know, not having to worry so much about missing that appendicitis if the belly is soft when the parent examines. But yeah, that's going to be our practice.
Cool. For everyone, your parents they're starting to get used to telemedicine. If you start not offering telemedicine, do you think you're going to get a lot of pushback from your parents?
Yeah, they might just call somebody else.
Yeah, the convenience factor is suddenly there for them.
Yeah, I mean, the few parents that have really commented are, you know, they could do a televisit at 8 and be at CVS by 8:20, and you know, by the time they would call us for an appointment for a diaper rash, drive to the parking lot, get the kid out of the car seat, get up into the office, in the waiting room, go into the exam room, wait again, then have to go to the pharmacy. You're talking about an hour and a half, like little rides. So I think for certain things, it's totally fine and totally appropriate. And some of it is stuff we would normally do over the phone, but heck, we should be getting paid for that. We shouldn't do it for free. So if I have to click on a computer to make it happen versus, okay, you have pink eye, I'll call you in some Ocuflux. I'd rather, click on my computer, and it forces me to get it in the system. That's the other thing too, versus, oh, let me just call that in and not even write it in the chart or write a little sticky note. And then 3 days later, I'm like, oh my God, I got to write it in. So yeah, I think it helps in efficiencies in a lot of different ways, and it doesn't bog up the office with, visits that don't need to be there.
Dr. Sachs, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, during office hours, without a doubt, I sure hope it's here to stay. Like Gina was saying, we should be getting paid for telemedicine visits rather than doing them as phone calls. After hours, I've had a handful of times where I can hear from the message, this is when it really is best done by telemedicine. Then I'll use the Doximity. Well, now I can use EHR single text. I used to use the Doximity secure text, and I would send the person a message saying, please log into my Doxy site. Let's handle this by telemedicine. And sometimes it's very easy and very efficient. And there have been times where I start on the phone, I realize better to go telemedicine. And the time that it has taken some people to be able to send the telemedicine consent via the portal, get onto the Doxy site, it's taken 3 times as long as just a simple phone call would have taken. And I say I would have rather not got paid for the phone call than get paid for the telemedicine visit. But big picture, like I said earlier, I absolutely hope that it's here to stay and the insurance companies don't do the wrong thing.
Yeah. Do you guys expect that? That's actually a question I was going to ask. They're doing it during the day. How many are you guys doing any telemed visits at night for your patients? I know, Dr. Sachs, you just said you're doing it on the fly type of thing. Beth, Dr. Marconi, are you guys doing any?
Yeah, we do them at the person on call. We have night nurse, so we have the night triage, but the calls that float through, our providers are choosing to get up and kind of do it through telehealth, so they have a better, unless it's just some random thing, we send somebody to the ER, but we have had visits after, but we're open till 8 o'clock at night, so
right.
The volume clearly goes way down. But on the weekend, we actually reduced our hours on the weekend from 9 to 5 to 9 to 2, just because there haven't been a lot of sick kids. But after 2, that there may be calls that come in. So we are doing some after hours, and I don't think anybody's figured out. Is anybody charging the after hours call with?
I was wondering about that too.
I don't know. I wanted to ask Jan that. I know she's in the background there, but I don't know if anybody's been successful at doing that.
I'm gonna text that to her because she won't hear this for another 30 seconds. She's watching on YouTube. We'll see what she has to say. Beth, are you guys doing any? Do you know if your doctor?
It's funny. I was just flipping through the appointment book to see if any had been put in there, and I'd assumed that they would be in the appointment book if they were doing it. I don't see it.
Right. You don't see anything.
Nothing late.
Are you guys actually scheduling an appointment, Dr. Sachs, Dr. Marconi? Are you guys actually putting an appointment, creating an appointment on the fly for those telehealth?
Oh yeah,
After hours?
Oh, definitely. I'll log into the EHR from home, and I've gotten to where I'll position Doxy and Chrome on half of my monitor and the EHR on the other half, and I put on put the screen behind me and pretend like I'm in the office. Just have my family clear out and hope the dog doesn't bark too much.
I love seeing what's going on in people's houses. I am such a looky-loo person. I have enjoyed that extra sort of perspective, and like some of our ADD kids, I know why they have ADD. I see what's going on in their house. The whole house has ADD.
It gives you a whole new perspective,
give you
right?
a boatload of Ritalin. Because by the time I get off the phone, my own head is spinning. I think I have ADD. So it's been kind of fun to do that. And I think also with the the teenagers, I think it's been great because you get to spend, you know, some extra time with them, and that, you know, probably you wouldn't necessarily have in the office. So I only have positive comments about telehealth. I know a lot of people are complaining about it, but honestly, like I think it's been great for us.
So Jan did post in the live chat that she has seen folks getting paid for after hours and telemed. So if you're not charging for it, guys, don't forget your after
I
hours
missed the
codes.
coding thing. I'm so
You missed the coding thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she says that we have nationwide data and she can check to see what average deposit rates are. But yep, it's
Okay, great.
it's being paid.
Good to
So
hear. That's
that
awesome.
makes sense. Well, it is 8:01. I think we're officially a minute over. I know Nick gave me the 5-minute sign 6 minutes ago now. So thanks guys for showing up to have this little chat.
By the
So-
way, this was fun. So you're asking us if we'll continue. We should ask you if you'll continue. So we don't have
Yeah.
to wait a whole year to the users conference. This would be a very cool bonus to add in, like quarterly or something like that.
We've been talking about potentially continuing this, and I like the Zoom instead of just a presentation. I like clients being able to get together to talk, even though it's a small group of you guys. I think it can still be pertinent. I'm hoping a lot of people show up at the big bash next week.
Yeah, you know, every week when the new sessions have been announced, I feel like it's a TV infomercial, but wait, there's more. It keeps getting better and better.
We are getting to the end, though. It is ending officially next week, but that doesn't mean we won't do some things later, like the Dashies. You know, we didn't do the dashboard awards. So I basically told Tim, hey, work on it. Think about it for later this year and do another special Zoom event.
Well, you'd have to take some back from people probably.
Well, yeah, let's face it, COVID did screw with some numbers there, and that's another reason maybe to wait. But you know, there's some things that we have ideas for doing other Zoom sessions later in the year with our clients.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you a lot, Lynn, and all of you. Great information.
Yeah.
All
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Good to see you.
Bye, guys.